Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Tonight, the latest attack has been launched, and this is a good one. It's anti-Glenn Beck Haiku Day. It is. We want to talk a little bit of taxes today. We're going to give you a little bit of hope today. And the one and only Al Sharpton will be joining me a little later. Come on, you don't want to miss this episode. So, hello, America. I was on vacation last week, and I was at Disney World buying that communist Mao puppet for some reason that they're selling there now. And I'm thinking, whatever happened to, what's going on in our country? What the heck is happening? How did we allow our country to get to this moment? It's so far beyond left and right and Republican and Democrat. It's so far beyond that. And then I suddenly remembered, in my deepest, darkest moment of despair, I remembered something that Nancy Pelosi said, and it totally cheered me up. Here it is.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
It's like a can of nuts. You have to open it up to find out what's in it. It's not what not really what I expected. I think I'm going to... Surprise! You know what I mean? You open it up and you're like, that's not what I expected. Now, let's open up the health care bill. Who doesn't like a good surprise or two? I mean, besides me, or maybe you, especially when it comes to our country. It doesn't take a genius to realize the reason why Nancy Pelosi wouldn't want anybody to know what's in the bill, and they'd just be like, just pass it, just pass it. You notice they didn't have it until like 24 hours before it was passed. Why? Why would you do that? Because you knew if you understood... That was creepy, wasn't it? Yeah. It was. You knew if people understood it, they wouldn't want it. If it was so great, they would want you to see every single page. Look at this page. This one's even better. And this one, they would have taken 2,400 days. And every day showed you how great this was. Instead, they rushed it through on a weekend. The president even said 5 days before, I don't even know what's in this bill yet. If it was so great, they wouldn't have to have bribed their own members in their own party. The bill is not great. It's really far from great. But it's now ours. And they had to be deceptive for us to get past it. Nancy Pelosi promised America with a straight and, kind of a pulled back face now, I don't know if you've noticed that we would love what's in this bill, while refusing to show us any of the details. I don't think I was the only one in America who heard the voice of my grandfather there from beyond the grave. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There are news reports out now about people who are actually calling insurance companies saying, where do I get my free Obamacare? How do I sign up for free Obamacare? You're kidding me, right? I hate to rain on that free Obama cash parade, but there are a couple of problems with this phone call. As we constantly pointed out on this program, but you couldn't hear us, you're going to start paying for the program now, but you're not going to get any of the benefits until 2014. Surprise! Did we buy these on Times Square? We're going to stop with it's a 5 o'clock show. Most importantly, free health care for all isn't actually free. Someone has to pay for it. And I got news for you. It ain't going to be just the rich. Surprise! It's going to be you two. That the health care bill has already passed is the problem. But it's also I think they think it's like a hypnosis point where, that scene in Star Wars, these aren't the droids you're looking for. Now they're announcing through Paul Volcker that we now have to address the concerns that the Tea Party goers had all along. How are we going to pay for this? The solution, you guessed it, higher taxes. Now, if you remember, the president, he promised that he wouldn't raise taxes, not by one single dime on anyone making less than $250,000. I have to remind you, because nobody else besides this network will remind you of these
no
fine
families
words.
making less than $250,000 a year will see any form of tax increase.
None.
Not your income tax, not your payroll tax, not your capital gains taxes, not any of your taxes.
None.
If you make less than $250,000, less than $250,000 a year, then you will not see one dime's worth of tax increase.
Show of hands, how many people make less than $250,000 a year? All right. Well, I'm talking to you then. You will not see your taxes increase one single dime.
If you have a job, pay taxes, and make less than $200,000 a year, you'll get a tax cut.
Yeah. Surprise. Surprise. Now, one of the very first moves Obama made in his presidency was his solution to fund S-chip. It was to raise cigarette taxes, which in itself is really bizarre and a ridiculous idea because, I mean, you're basically banking the future of children's health care on the hopes that more people continue to buy cigarettes and smoke. It's kind of like Uncle Sam saying to you, hey, kids, when you grow up, please smoke cigarettes so your children can have a healthy start in their lives. Not make any sense, does it? But it's the government. But that point is beside it. I think there are a lot of people, I don't know, I think I've seen a few people who make less than $250,000 a year with a cigarette in there. Not the president, because he makes well over $250,000 a year. But others that smoke do make less. That's called a tax hike. He also sought to raise the capital gains tax, which affects every single American who invests, which I know that sounds like the big Wall Street fat cats, but if you have a 401k, that would be you. Volcker has now come out and said that we're going to have to raise taxes in order to bring deficits under control. Did we try the not spending money thing and it just didn't work out? I've been a little fuzzy on the last 9-10 years. He said we're going to need to consider a European-style value-added tax, or VAT. Taxes always add value. According to Reuters, Volcker said, quote, the value-added tax was not as toxic an idea as it had been in the past, and also said a carbon or related energy-related tax may become necessary. So we could get a VAT and the carbon tax? Oh, be still my heart. He also said getting entitlement costs and the U.S. budget under control may require such moves. Now, that would be cutting the spending, not raising. See the difference there, Paul? If at the end of the day we need to raise taxes, we should raise taxes. Surprise! Thanks, Nancy. I needed that little pick-me-up. In a total shocker, the George Soros-funded Center for American Progress is a big fan of this idea. Remember, a carbon tax, but also that special VAT. It would be added on top of the federal tax, raising the $1 trillion needed to cover the projected shortfall in 2020. It would require 7% more on everything we can consume. I got it. We should just consume less. Of course, if we do, then we would have a revenue shortfall. Don't worry about all the details. You can't just force 32 million people to get health insurance and then mandate that all preventative care is free, because there's no such thing as a free lunch. I think that was my grandfather that said that. You have to pay for it. Eventually, somebody pays for it. Insurance companies will be forced to give you preventative care for free, which means they'll pass the cost on to you, almost like a tax. Part of the bill that has already been passed, by the way, and supposedly will save us money and have absolutely no waste in it. It is all for health care. It is all going for little children and their coughs. That's it. In that bill, it includes a federal trust fund. Ooh, it's got the word trust in it. It must be good. Yes, it is. What we found in the bill is the trust fund that pays for more bicycle paths and playgrounds and jungle gyms. Ooh, I like those. And sidewalks and hiking trails. See, I don't know, but I think the idea is we'll be healthier if we walk on sidewalks. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Oh, yes. this is going to work out well.